author's note has been written 3 times already, yet somehow, here I am, writing it again. Much like the quality of the story, it still won't do justice to the guys that served throughout the events that transpired within the written story. The story is something I never wanted to put down on paper, but here we are because of something that was jokingly mentioned on a dusty hill in Afghanistan all those years ago. Sergeant Robert Mussel laughed and said we would see the book about our actions 10 years later with my name on the cover of it. I had always thought it would be him or Doc Schultz that would be the first to write their memoirs down, as they seemed to be much more reflective about everything happening around them than I ever was. I also knew how much this portion of history meant to the guys that were there. I didn't want to be the one challenging their memories, bringing old wounds to the surface, and possibly getting some of the facts wrong. If 125 people witness a traumatic event, there'll be 125 different viewpoints on what really happened, and all of them are correct. Not 100% accurate, but correct, because this is how that particular person experienced the event. The mind works in strange ways on what it retains or how it shapes one's beliefs based on one's environment. I've even had my own recollections reshaped during the multiple interviews that I had with the guys to solidify the best possible picture that I could get from those who would be willing to talk about it. Keep in mind, these events happened 13 years ago at this point, but most of them could talk about it like it was yesterday. Some were happy to hear from me. Some answered the call, and I could sense the dread in the tone of their voice when I mentioned that I was bringing out a book about the time in the Arghandab. Some left threatening messages and various sentiments of fuck you for my efforts. But writing this book was worth every bit of the long nights, unsure moments, household strain, and mental load the project brought with it. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, only inspire more of you to do the same. One person keeps stating that you're not the keeper of the story, and he's right. We all are. And I want the various guys that were there to bring it forward. Hell, I'll help you with bringing what you have to a publisher. That's the whole point of this anyway. That was my reasoning for leaving out portions of the story that didn't fall under the direct involvement of 1st Platoon while in the Arghandab. Even now, the publisher had to tell me to stop adding content to the story. There were so many instances and good material that it was easy to fill the pages of this book. The hard part was whittling down what to submit as content to be included. There's still a lot left uncovered, and instances where I thought it more fitting to be told by someone from that particular platoon in depth. I'm not a writer, so I hope you read this note before reading the main body of the book. Just a forewarning. However, I think that the story that was written will resonate with the audience it was intended for, as some of you will just never be able to grasp what's held in the pages here. The process involved many of the people mentioned here, and attempts were made to reach them all. Not many, but some declined to be mentioned, as they're in a place in life that they don't want these memories brought back up to haunt them again. Please be aware of and respect their wishes, as a lot of what was experienced would have an effect on anyone. Some of this came through in the writing, and I didn't realize it until it was pointed out by a professional writer by trade as he was reviewing the book. He noticed that during some of the most action-packed and traumatic moments, the tense of the words written changed from past tense to present. To some of these guys, this is their everyday. They are constantly reliving the trauma of what happened to and around them overseas, but don't even realize that that's what's happening to them at the moment. Another important aspect to remember is that this was the U.S. military during the height of a lengthy, sustained war. The airborne timeline is even more compressed due to the need to stay current in everything a standard unit needs to be trained in, with the addition of paratrooper duties to go along with it. This workload provided additional stressors that squeezes the members of a unit such as the 82nd Airborne and makes life for the undisciplined absolute hell. The pace was breakneck, and the exposure to such a demand ultimately improved our chances within the Arghandab River Valley, even if it wasn't seen by some of the men at the time. The best part of writing the book was reconnecting